People in a Northwest Beaumont neighborhood could barely believe their eyes today. On the ground and from the air, the water was tough to miss. A surprise flood in the middle of an otherwise dry day. A levee on the main LNVA channel breached, causing the Pine Glen neighborhood to fill up with water. Tonight, the LNVA has plugged the leak, but the damage is done. Now, a handful of families actually have flood damage in their homes. 12 News reporter James Grant is live tonight near Major and 105. James, nobody even knows what caused this, right?
Jordan, that's right. The folks at the LNVA don't know. Now, we'll hear from them in a minute. And I talked to numerous people who live here in Pine Glen, some who have been here for over 30 years. They all told us the only time they've seen flooding like today was during Harvey.
Flooded streets, road closures, and high water vehicles. It was a shocking scene for people in Beaumont's Pine Glen neighborhood.
Very rare to see this in this neighborhood. This is some of the highest ground, and I wouldn't say it was the highest, but it's some of the highest ground in Beaumont.
Richard Glenn has lived in Pine Glen since 1989. He says the only other time a levee breach like this has happened was during Harvey. And back then, the canal overflowed.
Of course, these drainage ditches got overwhelmed, and we had very similar to what you see here, but that's the only other time.
The experts at the LNVA are baffled.
Daily, weekly, we cross these levees and look for signs of something like this to prevent it before it gets to this magnitude.
Risa Barber with LNVA says there were no seeps, weeps, or other indicators the breach was going to happen. It took crews 3 hours to get everything under control.
They pulled clay and more earth from the center of the canal and stacked it with brush and limbs and things of that nature to reinforce it, and then they were able to plug it up.
The LNVA canal supplies raw water to municipalities and industrial customers. The state entity has not recorded a levee breach in the last 25 years.
Crews will come back out and they'll assess the situation and they'll come up with a more permanent solution to the breach, and we'll get that underway quickly.
Glenn says while a few of his neighbors had water damage, he says he's grateful the water didn't make it into his home.
If it had to happen during a drought like this, probably as good as you could get.
And Barber says if you had water damage in your home, you can call the LNVA main line at 409-892-4011. They'll take your name, address, and information and walk you through the next steps. Live in Beaumont, James Grant, 12 News.